Hi guys, in this video we're going to have a look at how we do perpendicular bisectors and angle bisectors. So to do this you're going to need a compass, and probably best to have a little chat about what perpendicular means. So if two lines are perpendicular, then it means they meet at right angles. Okay, so basically there'll be a cross where they meet is a right angle, so 90 degrees. And what bisector means is when you draw a line that divides something into two equal parts. So for example, if this line here, I'm going to draw it straight down the middle. If there's an angle here, I'm going to draw a line, again, that's straight down the middle. Okay, so a perpendicular bisector is a line that's straight down the middle and it meets the other line at 90 degrees. So to do that, like I said, you'll need a compass. So the first thing to do is to put your point on one of the ends. I'm going to choose the right end here and make sure it's just over halfway. Otherwise this won't work. So just over halfway, just like so. And what we do is we draw an arc like that, and then we move the compass point over to the other side, keeping it at the same distance, and exactly the same thing, we draw an arc. Okay, once you've done that, you can get your pen and a ruler, which is what I forgot to get. So get a ruler, and then where they meet, there and there, you can join them up, and there you go. You've drawn a perpendicular bisector. It meets at 90 degrees and it's banged down the middle. Okay. Again, this one here, it might say what's the perpendicular bisector between 2 points, or it might say, can you shade in the areas that are closer to A or closer to B? Either way, you need to draw a perpendicular bisector. So it's probably a good idea in this case to get a ruler and draw a line between them. Okay, so if I'm going to bisect it, it's going to be something like that. But again, you can't just draw that. You have to use your construction lines. So again, get your compass. It's exactly the same thing. Put the point on one end and draw yourself an arc. Put your point on the other end, keeping that the same distance. Otherwise, again, it won't work. And again, draw another arc. And then you can get your ruler and pen again. Line them up like so, and there you go, you've bisected exactly between those 2 points A and B. And again, like I said, if the question is shade the region of points that are closer to A, obviously you'd shade this side because they're all closer to A, or if it was shade the region closer to B, obviously you'd shade that region because it's closer to B. But you have to do that bisector, otherwise you won't get the marks. So that's doing a perpendicular bisector. These two examples here, I'm going to do an angle bisector. So straight away, I've got an acute angle here, and I'm going to bisect it. So go straight down the middle. So we know what it's going to look like. So if it doesn't look right, obviously you can check it, or redo it, sorry. So this is how we do an angle bisector. Pick a distance, put your point on the very point of the angle there, and put a little mark on the lower one and on that one there. So I'll just double check that. Okay, so on there and on there. Once you've done that, keeping your compass the same distance, put it on the top and draw a little arc, put it on the bottom. Have I got that on there? Yes, I have. And again, draw a little arc. So again, you'll have a cross. And you can then line up with a ruler from your point to your cross, like so, and you can draw your line. There you go, and you've bisected that angle straight down the middle. So that was an example of an acute. Here's an example of an obtuse, but it's exactly the same method. So get your compass, and again, make a mark on one line, make a mark on the other line, so these are the same distance away from that point. Again, get your compass, and I'm just going to make it a little bit wider, because otherwise I'm not sure they're going to intersect like this here. And I'm going to put my point on the bottom one first, and I'm going to draw my arc. Then I'm going to put it on the other little mark I made. Just make sure I'm on there. Yes, I am. And again, make a little mark. So they intersect there. So I get my pen and ruler, line it up like so, and there we go. I've done an angle bisector on obtuse. Okay, so there's perpendicular bisectors and angle bisectors. Now, they're the most common questions that are asked, but you could be asked something like this, where you need to do a bisect this line, but it has to go through this point. Okay, so it's not the same as before. I can't put it there and there, otherwise it's going to be straight down the middle. This time I need my perpendicular line to go through that point. So this is how you do it if that's the question. You need to put your point of your compass on the actual point there. Make sure when you do an arc, it will go over the line. So I'm going to put a little mark there, keeping it the same distance, your compass that is. I'm going to draw another mark there. Okay, so these 2 points are exactly the same distance away from there. And then you put your point of your compass on one of the marks, and you can draw an arc, and it should go through there. If it doesn't, you've made a mistake, or your compass has moved distance. So again, put it on there, and again I'm going to draw an arc. So as you can see, it intersects that point there, and I've also got an intersection down here. So as you've probably guessed, I can get my ruler, line it up, and there we go. I've drawn a perpendicular line because it meets at 90, but it goes through that point there. Exactly the same thing with this one here. This time the point is actually on the line, but the process is still the same. Okay. Now what you could do, if it's a bit tight, is just extend the line if you need to. It's not a problem. So that's what I'm going to do there. I'm just going to extend it slightly. And the idea is exactly the same thing. So I'm going to put my compass point on the point. I'm going to change the length so it's just a little bit shorter. Put a mark on the line, and keeping it exactly the same distance, put another mark on the line. So these 2 points are exactly the same distance away from that point, just as these 2 were exactly the same distance away from that point. Once you've done that, just like in all the others, just extend it slightly, just so it's over halfway, keeping it exactly the same. Draw an arc, move it over to the other point there. Sorry, paper's moving. And again, draw your arc, and then with your ruler and your pen, line them up. It should go through that point. Again, if you haven't, it's probably because your compass has changed. There we go. So I've done a perpendicular line going through the point that they specified. So there's just a few questions to do, a few examples of questions that could come up that should obviously help. Thanks, guys.